One of my subscribers asked me to do a ranked list of my best iris fragrances. It has taken me a while to put this list together, reason being a lot of them are like splitting hairs. I've got 10 fragrances here, iris fragrances, some iris based and some with iris in. But all of these are stunning scents. If you want to watch the rank list, stay tuned. What is good, YouTube? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikey Cologne, and if you're tuned in, as always, thank you very much for doing so. That is right, today I've got 10 iris fragrances. Like I say, some are iris based and some have iris in them. All of these are stunning. It was so hard to rank these fragrances because to me, what's coming in at number 10, being last place, is a fabulous fragrance. So none of these are bad in any way, shape or form, but it had to be a ranked list because I was asked. So here goes. Coming in at number 10 is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Le Parfum. I know some of you are probably screaming at this going, what? It had to come somewhere, and the fragrances that I've got sitting in front of me, to me, in my opinion, are better than this. But this is still a great scent. Trust me when I say that. If you own this, you know that this, it rocks. It really does. Right, you've got cardamom, iris, lavender, vanilla, oriental notes and woodsy notes. When this first opens up, straight away it's warm, semi-sweet. You get slapped in the nose with a little bit of spice, which is coming from the cardamom. But to me, I think there's other spice in this, maybe nutmeg, because it is quite heavy on the spice when this opens up. After a few minutes, the woods become present. Now the fragrance gets this resinous, balsamic side to it. Once you start getting into the mid, I can detect the lavender, but the lavender in this is sitting in the back. The iris comes through, which is a little bit powdery, a bit dusty, but once this goes from mid to dry down, the fragrance does have a little bit of a creamy side to it. You do get vanillic touches, but I think the vanilla in this as well, not only do you get the scent, it comes off a little bit powdery. So you've got like this powdery nature coming from the iris, plus the vanilla, but you've got that warm sweetness in there. The woods turn up a little bit in the mid. It's a great fragrance, it really is, and it lasts a long time. I do love the way this smells. So if I love the way this smells, just think about the list that's to come. But anyway, it had to come in last place, sorry to say. But that is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Le Parfum. It is a stunning scent. Coming up next is a fragrance from the house of Pierre Hardy, and it is Vanilla 21. Right, I'm going to say it. Any of these fragrances you cannot go wrong with. Number 10, I don't dislike. This I definitely don't dislike, but they had to be placed somewhere. And this, unfortunately, come in at number 9. But the fragrances in front of this, they do get more use. There's no doubt about it. But this does smell great. This to me is like a cuddly, oriental, Irish fragrance. We'll get into it. Right, up top you got vanilla, saffron, Florentine iris. And hey, absolute. You got banana wood, amber and cardamom. Right, this opens up semi-sweet, very warm. It's got this richness to it. Straight away you get the iris, but also you get this animalic touch, and the animalic touch is coming from the Hey Absolute, but it's sitting way in the back, way in the back. It is very light, and that does slowly dissipate after about 5 minutes, that animalic edge. But it's very light, not off-putting, not challenging. The iris comes across creamy, plus it also comes off a little bit floral, like the flower itself, but very light again. As it starts to dry down, I get little herbal green touches that come through the back. And then this banana nuance comes through. Right, on some websites it says banana leaf. On the actual website of Pierre Hardy, it says banana wood. But all I can tell you is that, to me, it comes across like a warm, sweet banana smell with little touches of herbal and green nuances, whilst you've got the vanilla and the amber, they're all mixing in. So this fragrance from top, mid to base, it's just warm, sweet, cozy, a little buttery, creamy. It's a great scent. But like I say, it had to come somewhere, and it is number 9, and that is Felinilla from the house of Pierre Hardy. Coming in at number 8, and you lot are going to be screaming at me now when I mention this fragrance, but I chopped and changed this about a couple of times yesterday. I went back to it, and then I changed a few things, and then I left it for a little while, and then I went back to it again, and I was like, right, I've got to stop. Coming in at number 8 is Dior Homme Intense. I know, yes, it is a fantastic fragrance, but remember, this is my own personal opinion. Once you've watched the review, you might think, no, I would have that at number 1, that would be at number 3, but at number 8, it is Dior Homme Intense. This has a little bit of a sophisticated side to it. It's not a complex scent, but it wears very well. Like mass appealing. Oh, I love it in the air. On test strip and on skin it's nice, but it does leave a nice little trail. Right, you got lavender, iris, ambrette seed, Virginia cedar and vetiver. Right, straight out the gate, I get a blast of freshness. Not a citrusy or anything like that. It's just a fresh blast as soon as you spray it, which must be the lavender. Then it's straight into a powdery iris. As the fragrance settles on my skin, it does turn more powdery. It starts out a little powdery, a touch lipsticky, but as it dries down and as it settles, it smooths out, and then that powdery nature amps up a little bit. The Virginia cedar is there alongside the iris. Plus you do get the ambrette seed, which gives this fragrance musky edges. I'll tell you what I do get with this fragrance. I get vanilla or vanillic touches, especially once that opening calms down. It's like a fresh blast, iris, woods. Then I'll start getting the sweetness, vanillic touches, the musk. And plus I also get a little bit of a fruity nuance way in the back. Like on my skin it comes and goes. Sometimes I can't detect it and sometimes I can. That fruity touch. This just has a smart, sophisticated edge to it because it's very clean. It's not overbearing. It's not daring. And it's got a little bit of an airy nature to it. Like this, on me, doesn't sit heavy. It's not a dense, thick fragrance. It starts out a little bit that way, but the more it sits, it just mellows out and it turns a little bit airy. Great scent. Had to place it somewhere. And that is Dior Homme Intense coming in at number 8. Up next, number 7. Is coming from the house of Carolina Herrera, and it is CH Passion for him. Stunning fragrance. This was basically love at first sniff. I do enjoy this very much. I've worn loads of this, and when this runs out, I'm going to be getting a backup bottle. There's no doubt about it. I do not want to be ever without this fragrance in my collection. You've got quite a lot of notes in this, so sit tight. You've got amberwood, Australian sandalwood, bourbon vanilla, frankincense, iris, myrrh, pink pepper, Texas cedar, tonka bean, neroli and woodsy notes. Right, you get a fresh blast up top. You get the pink pepper. The neroli in this is literally just adding that freshness. It's not coming across soapy or floral. It's just coming across fresh, mixing in with the amberwood and the pepper. So it's fresh, semi-sweet, a little bit spicy, and then boom, the iris comes in. Now, the iris here is a little bit powdery. It's a tad dusty. As it settles a little bit, I do get that cosmetic bag, lipsticky vibes from the iris in this, but it never is too much. It's right down the middle, a little bit powdery, a little bit lipsticky. As it dries down, the woods come in, the frankincense shows up, and it gives this fragrance, that incense facet. Now at this stage, that freshness up top has dissipated. The myrrh has come in with the frankincense, so now the fragrance is turning warm, sweeter, a little bit balsamic. It dries down a bit more. The tonka bean, the Texas cedar, everything comes in. It's like layers. Fresh, spicy, woodsy, powdery iris, dries down, turns warm, incense, myrrh, balsamic, warm, sweet, woodsy. That is how this fragrance goes, and it is a great release. To me, this is one of the better releases of this year without a doubt, but it had to come somewhere, and number 7 is CH Passion for him. Number 6, I hate to put it here, it is Gardenia Del Iris from the house of Pharmacia SS Annunziata. I love this fragrance. I really do. To me, this is a unique take on iris. Reason being is because this has 2 phases to it. It starts out fresh, a little bit citrusy, with sweetness, but as it dries down, the freshness subsides. Oh, we'll get into it. Let me just spray it and read you the notes. I love, look at this bottles, look. That is great presentation. The atomizers are great, pressurized. Oh, it just smells good. It really does. Right, you got bergamot, lemon flower, elemi, myrrh absolute, iris, amber, cedarwood, musk, vanilla, cashmeran, and Padua cord. I do not know what Padua cord is. I don't know if it's powdery. I really don't know. But what I do know is that this opens citric, fresh. That lemon flower is what pushes the freshness into the fragrance. But even though you got that freshness there in your face, there's a little sharp metallic tinge to this. But that, as the fragrance dries down, that dissipates and that freshness calms down, and that warmth is nearly always there from the get-go. It's at the back. But as it dries down, that freshness dissipates, the warm comes forward, a little bit balsamic. You've got the elemi here that can go resinous, so that's adding some sweetness into the fragrance. It does have a woodsy undertone. This is a great scent. It is very attractive, very easy to wear. Like, this to me is an all year round iris fragrance, because you've got that freshness up top. You can put it off in the summer, because I've worn it in the summer, and I think it'll go great in the winter. It's office friendly. It's just a great scent, and nobody talks about this house. If you haven't tried this Gardenia Del Iris, get yourself a little 1 ml sample, and then you'll see what I'm saying. Because the iris in here, it's a little bit buttery, it's a little bit powdery, it's a little bit lipsticky. It's a gorgeous scent. But anyway, number 6, it is Gardenia Del Iris, Gutted. Coming in at number 5 is a fragrance from the house of Atelier des Iris. I'm probably butchering that, but I tried. It is called Iris Fove. This I save for special occasions. As you can see, I haven't worn a lot of this fragrance, Look at the gold flakes. I believe they're actually real gold flakes in this bottle. Gorgeous presentation. The caps on these, look, they are solid metal. The bottles are weighty. Gorgeous pattern. The scent, this is refined to me. I'm going to spray it, read you the notes, and then I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the scent. And the gold flakes do come out of this when you spray it. They do come through the atomizer. Oh, this is Iris straight away. You get a very short-lived bergamot blast up top. Then it's powdery iris, warm cinnamon spice. The woods become present after a couple of minutes. And why the woods become present? The fragrance then starts going a little bit lipsticky while staying powdery, and then it dries down a bit more. Now I start getting earthy touches from that cypriol and the vetiver, and maybe the patchouli as well. But the patchouli here is a little bit more chocolate cakey. It's got that warmth and sweetness to it in this fragrance that patchouli has. And basically that is how the fragrance sits. Once it dries down, that iris slowly fades away. Like after an hour or two, the iris is very low key, like way in the back. Like this starts off iris heavy, and then as it dries, the iris just slowly fades away and you're left with woods, warmth, sweetness, a little bit ambery. This is a great scent, and like I say, I save this for special occasions. I mean, look at the presentation. If you've got, this is my only fragrance from this brand. Imagine if you had 5 or 10 of these on the shelf with a light above it. That would look sick. It really would. But anyway, I love the juice. I love the presentation. But I had to put it somewhere. So that is Iris Fove from the house of Atelier des Iris. This one coming in at number 4 was a toss-up between the 3rd place and the 4th place. Splitting hairs. Literally splitting hairs. And if this was on another day, it could have been different. It is Violet Ardea from the house of Miller Harris. This should have been called Iris Ardea, because the way this opens up full on iris, buttery iris. We're going to get into it. Let me spray it. Yes, a lot of these fragrances, they're powdery, they're lipsticky, some are warm, some open up with a fresh blast, but they all smell different. They're all done in different ways. None of these fragrances are redundant. Right, you've got carrot seed, Italian bergamot, orris butter, heliotrope, violet, vanilla and liquid amber. Right, straight away, buttery, creamy iris. You do get a little bit of a fresh blast up top, but that freshness carries into the mid. And I think that is the violet having a helping hand. Plus the violet does give this a little bit of a floral edge. The heliotrope brings in this sweet almondy facet that comes through after about 5 minutes. That starts to become noticeable. This little bit of a sweet almondy touch. With the buttery iris, the freshness is still there, a little bit of a floral edge. As it dries down, this fragrance goes through changes. It goes a little bit lipsticky, then it goes a little bit powdery, then it goes back to buttery again. This is a smooth iris fragrance. To me, this is a full-on iris scent, without a doubt. That carrot seed up top does give off a little bit of a vegetal touch, very lightly, and it's only there for a few minutes. Plus, once you start getting from mid to dry down, you can pick up on a soft woodsy undertone, but it's that woodsy nuance is in the back. Plus, you do get the vanilla. Like this has vanillic touches to it from mid to dry down, and once you get into that dry down, like I say, it's powdery, a little bit vanillic, warm, sweet, gorgeous. It does have a feminine touch to it, or a feminine edge, I should say, because it is a little bit floral. But I don't care about that because I enjoy the note of iris. I love this fragrance. In the dry down, it sits powdery. It loses that creamy quality and it just sits powdery on my skin. And it doesn't come across smelling like an old granny or talcum powder or anything like that. It just sits powdery. It's a beautiful fragrance. It is worth checking out. Violet Atelier from the house of Miller Harris. It is a good scent. Up next, right, if you enjoy nutty fragrances with iris, you're definitely in luck. This is Ulala from the house of T.O. Cabanel. What a stunning fragrance this is. This is a simple fragrance. There's nothing complex about this, but man, is it effective. This thing smells great. Let me spray it and then we're going to get into it. Right, you got hazelnut, saffron, tobacco, iris, tonka bean, sandalwood and white musk. Straight off the bat, you get this sweet hazelnut surrounded by powdery iris, a soft bit of spice coming from the saffron. Once, after a couple of minutes that starts settling, the tobacco comes in. Now, the tobacco here gives off a herbal quality. Plus, the iris here is giving off floral touches. So this has floral edges. As it dries down a bit more, the woods come in. Now the sandalwood is mixing in with the iris, so the fragrance is turning creamy while staying a little bit powdery. Plus now the musk is there. So it's got musky floral edges, powdery, semi-sweet, woodsy. The spice is dissipated. This and the nuttiness, right? That nuttiness starts off up top with the hazelnut, but once that gets into the mid, the tonka bean slowly takes over, and then I do get this almondy quality from the fragrance. So it's nutty top, nutty in the mid, and then once it nearly gets to the base, that dissipates. You got to try it. Yes, it does have a feminine side to it. I'd say unisex leaning femme, but again, that don't bother me. This is a great scent. I enjoy wearing this. And it's an all year round fragrance. But anyway, that is Ulala, coming from the house of T.O. Cabanel, number 3. This was a very, very difficult choice between this and number 1. Either of these could have been number 1. But coming in at number 2, it is Iris Malican. I love this fragrance. It is one of the best that I've got my nose on to date. And if you haven't tried this fragrance and you enjoy iris with leather, smooth leather, because the quality of this juice, it is outstanding, and this is blended perfectly. We're going to get into it. I'm not wasting this on test strip. This is going on skin. I just love this stuff. Oh, that opening is great. Right, you got Oris Butter, Cypress, Galbanum Absolute, Leather, Musk, Vanilla, Amber, Mastic, Mimosa Absolute. Right, straight off the bat, buttery, creamy iris, mixed in with soft, suede leather. The galbanum I get straight away. The galbanum's like sitting in the middle. You got the iris, you got the leather. The galbanum here, it's not piercing, but it gives off a green nuance. But also there's a very slight little bit of bitterness there. But that bitterness, as the fragrance calms down, that bitterness tones down, that green stays there. Woods come in, the mimosa is giving off this sweet powdery facet. As it dries down more and more, the iris just becomes more buttery, more creamy. You get some nice sweetness in here. Woodsy, that leather, everything. The whole fragrance is smooth, creamy, slightly powdery, semi-sweet, a little bit balsamic. when you're in the mid to the base, that mastic gives off this piney facet that's mixing in with the galbanum. So it's woodsy, green, and you get vanillic touches, but the vanilla is so smooth here. Like it adds sweetness to that soft leather, and that vanilla wraps all the notes. Like it runs through all the notes, and man, the dry down smells great. This is a 30ml bowl. I've always said when this runs out, I'm going to get the 100ml. And that still stands because this is worth it. This is backup bottle worthy. If you enjoy iris leather and galbanum, man, you're going to love this stuff. But anyway, number 2, it is Iris Malican from the house of Maison Crivelli. To me, this is not just my favourite iris fragrance at the minute. This is one of my most favourite fragrances in my whole entire collection. Like if someone said you have to keep 10 or 20 fragrances, this fragrance I'm going to talk about now would be one of the first that I would snap up and keep. It is coming from the house of, if you guessed it, Aaron Terence Hughes, and it is Homme. I love this stuff. Waxy, sexy, sweet. This is a great scent. And the thing is, it's not a complex fragrance. And you do not have to overthink it. But it smells so good. This has got date night written all over it. It really has. But anyway, we're going to get into it. And this is this 50ml bottle. They are extract to parfum, I believe. Beautiful, look, magnetic cap. The atomizers on these bottles as well, they are great. They really are. Look, pressurized. Look at this. Oh man, right. Orange concrete, amber, tonka bean, vanilla, sandalwood, cedarwood, and white musk. Simple note breakdown. Right. Straight away, this opens sweet, warm, buttery, with a sexy edge. After a couple of minutes, the cedarwood is noticeable and the sandalwood, but the sandalwood is more coming across creamy. So it's making that iris even more buttery, and it keeps that creamy facet going through the fragrance. The tonka bean adds sweetness and warmth. You do get little touches of musk, plus you do get touches of vanilla. You do get a little bit of a balsamic quality from the amber, but everything just adds warmth and sweetness to the fragrance. It adds a little bit of depth to it, and all the notes just gel together. Just the way it's blended, the quality of the juice, just the way it's come across, the way he's tweaked, or however they work their magic with the notes, just the way it smells, I love it. Iris Malican is number 2, but this is my favourite iris fragrance at the minute to this date, and that is Homme from the house of Aaron Terence Hughes. To me, it's unisex as well. It doesn't scream feminine and it doesn't scream masculine, but you've got to appreciate iris, and I do, and the way it comes across in this fragrance, that is the reason why it's number 1. Little powdery, buttery, creamy, waxy, ever so slightly lipsticky. Great. Right, that is my ranked top 10 iris fragrances. Even the 10th one, like I said, I think they're all outstanding scents. You cannot go wrong with none of these. It took me a while to get to the 10. And then it took me a while to get to number 1, because Iris Malican is fantastic. So is Homme. They all are. Right, let me know which ones you've tried. I appreciate all your support. I just want to say thank you very much. And I will see you lot on the next one. Cheers.